The government should buy all the pokie machines. What? Why? Well, remember how in the Port Arthur massacre 35 people were killed? So the Australian government bought all the guns off people to make the country safer. Right. Well, suicide linked to gambling claims 400 lives per year. That's over 10 Port Arthurs every year. Damn. But aren't the state governments bringing in legislation to make gambling safer, like daily limits and compulsory breaks? When? They keep delaying these initiatives, partly because the gambling lobbies put pressure on the politicians not to slaughter their cash cow. Well, is it fair to people who own pokie machines trying to make a living? These machines aren't owned by salt-of-the-earth, working-class families trying to cover their gas bill. Coles and Woolworths own most of them. They already have us operating the self-service checkouts. If we're not careful, they'll start making us pull a lever every time we want to scan a carton of eggs. As if those companies are going to let the government buy their machines. Make it compulsory. Pass the legislation through Parliament as quickly as possible before the gambling lobbies have time to create smear campaigns. Yeah, but then what? Then the government can regulate gambling however they want without resistance. Then we don't have to pass these meager little band-aid measures like daily limits that people can work around anyway. And where would the profits go? Here's the best bit. Back to the community. If the state owned all the gambling equipment and licenses, 100% of the profits could go to social programs instead of the measly less than 1% the gambling companies contribute now. We're talking about $244 billion in bets made in Australia last year. Holy shit, that's almost enough to buy a matcha latte. Public interest has to triumph over vested interest. We just need brave souls in government to weather the intimidation tactics of the gambling lobby and take over an industry that profits far too much off misery. Why don't you run for office? Whoa, I don't like my odds.